Okay, so this one is kind of weird. We've been thinking it's been weird for a long time, but recently a remake, or rather a remaster, we just don't know yet, of Horizon Zero Dawn, the original Horizon. It is coming, seemingly for both PC and PlayStation 5. There have been ratings done on the game, so, we kind of now know that it's not some sort of sick joke. It's actually happening. And in the last couple of days, remarkably, and I can't quite believe this one, but in this industry, nothing surprises me anymore. The concept that there may actually be a Days Gone remaster. Let's just sort of pause for a moment there to consider that. John, what's going on here? Do you believe any of this? I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn remake or remaster, it's seemingly happening. But Days Gone, what do you make of this whole scenario? It's kind of like The Last of Us Part 1 on steroids, isn't it?
Oh man, yeah, I do not like this idea at all, but it does feel it does seem like something that they might do. Because clearly there's issues getting brand new stuff out right now in terms of development time is very long on new games. So, but man, these games don't need remakes. They don't need remakes. They absolutely do not. Like, not even a little bit. Like,
yeah.
Days Gone itself is actually still a very interesting game mechanically.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does a lot of cool ideas with traversal and survival across an open world that I like to see. But I think it's aged extremely well. It's already 60 FPS with good visuals on PS5. It has a solid PC version that's very scalable. It looks good. There's nothing wrong with the gameplay as is. Like, it doesn't need to be updated at all. Like, I thought Dead Rising, the deluxe remaster looked pretty good, right? I'd say Days Gone still looks kind of better.
Yeah.
And, it's like, it as is, it's still fine for 2024. It absolutely does not need it. There's nothing mechanically that they need to do that says, yeah, this needs to be remade. And honestly, Horizon as well, like Zero Dawn obviously is dated somewhat visually compared to what came next, but that's the natural order of sequels, and it does not look bad. It is still a beautiful game, but it's one that I think a lot of people have already experienced, and I don't see what they could bring to the table that would make it worth just doing that again. Right? The mystery's gone. The game is out there. It's been there. You can play it in many places. It's 60 FPS all around. I believe it is 60 on PS5 now, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
like that in a patch with you.
What the heck? Like this, I hope, I just don't like it. Like Last of Us Part 1, there was some complaints about that, but I think that was just on the edge of being something that was kind of worth it, especially with the HBO show in the works and sort of bringing it up parity with The Last of Us Part 2, having them both be there like that. That's fine. But these games, no, there's no reason to do it when they're already in such good condition.
They've got to make an exceptionally compelling pitch to actually sell people on this concept.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they would, especially for Days Gone. That one is the most confusing one for me. I guess we haven't seen any production output from the studio in a long time, right?
Okay.
So we're wondering what they're doing. Maybe they're working on their next project for so long that they need to get revenue in. I think maybe this is just a problem of revenue for long development cycles. To fund the next larger project, we have to resell the game we made earlier in some way. And I think the hook for something like Days Gone is probably going to be some sort of PS5 Pro integration. I don't think there's anything compelling about it really from a PS5 perspective, but a PS5 Pro's perspective could have different image quality, could have the enhanced settings from the PC version that push things. It's so boring, but there's that. For Horizon Zero Dawn remaster refresh, the PC version didn't do too much that was really interesting above the console version. Honestly, was one of the issues that I had with it at release. And unless they're like adding in, they could, like, the game has like, they could add in like RTGI, I guess, and update the character models, update the water. It seems like a large endeavor though to do that. Do people really love Horizon that much to want to pay for that again? I don't know.
The only thing I wonder
It sold
is
monstrous amounts, which is part of the problem.
maybe it's a canary in a coal mine situation, but in a positive sense, in that it's indicating that Nintendo has something big in the works. Because traditionally, they like to release Horizon games during the release period of a big Nintendo game. Like it's promptly overshadowed.
Overshadowed, yeah.
Right? So,
God,
maybe,
what's the next Zelda that's going to release then?
Is this what we're talking about here? Like, is this the next big Nintendo game? They're getting ready to launch?
That is the best.
They got to have Horizon ready for that.
Yeah.
Hashtag clutching at straws.
Yeah.
I don't understand, considering that Sony essentially seemed to be turning its back on Days Gone, the concept that they would now go back and remaster it is, why would you do that unless you're actually going to resurrect the franchise, which is a concept that is far more appealing to me, because I do think it deserved a sequel. And retrospectively, people look at that game a lot more favourably than they did at launch, although we actually loved it at launch.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yes, I think, you've got The Last of Us Part 1 as a precedent, but I honestly think that was almost like a borderline case. And these games are from a subsequent generation. And there is far less of a case, unless it's, maybe the Days Gone thing is possibly akin to what they did with Ghost of Tsushima, which was essentially not really a remaster, but a refresh.
Or T-Loop 2.
Yeah.
Where, again, it was paid, it did come out on PS5 natively, but it wasn't like a gigantic project with a lot of investment behind it. It was like, hey, this is just sort of a polished up final release version of this game. Here you go. Which was not a big deal in the end, and it was fine to have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I do think that, maybe there is a case for something to be done with Days Gone in that regard, but at the same time, it would have to be to reintroduce the franchise and to commit to it. Horizon, I can kind of see that they would want to go the Last of Us Part 1 route on that. But, man, they've got a big, big task ahead of them in actually selling that to the audience, of a great many of whom will have Zero Dawn, which runs great on PlayStation 5. We've got this... actually, we're going to get the customary hi, Jake, out of the way, because SJ33 in brackets, Jake has a question. Hi, Jake. Hi all, I don't think there's anything offensive about a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster in itself. The problem is what its existence means for future development. Games are taking so long to make and costing so much that these remasters make sense to keep things ticking over in the meantime. The problem is this will only last so long until developers run out of things to remaster, without digging deep into the back catalogue and potentially more expensive remakes. Where do developers go when the remaster world runs dry? That's a very, very interesting point. The answer is, well, they haven't really got anywhere to go. I mean, you look at something like Final Fantasy VII Remake / Rebirth, and that is, I would say, a worthwhile endeavour, but it's a gigantic project akin to a whole new game, really.
It is, yeah.
Any final comments on this, John, before we move on?
Man, I'm just waiting for more. I would really love to see Sony start to announce some more new games. Though, if at the same time, maybe they are trying to follow the model they took with something like Astrobot, which is to say, announce it and then 2 months, 3 months later, it's out.
Also,
which is not a bad thing either.
And also, vastly looking at these remasters, I'm seeing other games that are languishing in PS3's wasteland.
Languishing.
Why not? Yeah, like why not Killzone 2 or 3, a Killzone collection or something like that instead of Horizon? Like, I know it's probably more of an effort to bring that, just up-resing it and making it run on an x86. I think would be great, right? I feel like that could be interesting, but it's not synergistic with the rest of their new portfolio. And I think Sony's allergic to first-person games anyway, so I don't know if they would ever do it. I don't even know.
That's the weird thing. I'm kind of more excited about the concept of a Shadowfall remaster than I am a Horizon one.
Big time.
Even though they are the same generation.
Dude, I think Shadowfall is super underrated. And if they went back over it again and basically solved its issues, things like, improving the AI and making some changes to some of the mission flow, think it would be really awesome. But like you say, Alex, they seem to be very synergy driven right now. And if this does, I don't think they have any interest in reviving the Killzone franchise, because that's not what Guerrilla's going to be doing anytime soon. So it's like, why even put marketing effort into that if they're not reviving it, is likely what they're thinking.